So at this point, years ago, when I was building up my Space Bug Tyranid army, Gene Stealers, they were just terabad on so many absolute levels, simply because look at all these ways where it just didn't work. So we're going back a couple of editions of 40K when troops were central to winning any and all mission objectives. There was this idea that, okay, I'm limited to 6 troop slots on there. There's no way to really manipulate that. Here are my 6 troop choices. If I take Gene Stealers, they're expensive in points, and this is playing into Raveners. They're expensive in points, but okay, look, I can spend the points there, but I can kind of bulk up on the other little critters and smaller space bugs and get my model mass on the table. But I have no way to attack unless it's shooting. It's all assault, unless I'm trying to do some tricks with the Broodlord at the time. In that assault, everyone's going to overwatch me to death on there. I don't have access to strike at my high initiative. Remember, this is going back a couple of editions, so you would just park in terrain, strike me first. They are the elite shock troops with what they can do, but if I go out and attack with them and use them as shock troops, then I'm not going to have any troops for mission scoring. So there was all these conflicting signals left and right with it. How the heck were you going to play them? So we'd go to swap meets, and at the gaming club every couple of months, you'd bring kind of 40K stuff you wanted to buy and sell and trade. And I'm just secretly stocking up on Gene Stealers everywhere, because I know at some point they're going to be really good and maybe just make a really, really, when you play Space Hulk, I have 40K friends that play Space Hulk, and Tyranids and Space Hulk are just absolute beast maniac. And they're like, wow, this is crazy. Why can't they be like that in regular 40K? So here we are now in 8th edition. Gene Stealers are okay. They're okay. But you know where I was, right? Stockpiling Raveners. Question to the Tyranid players, or questions for those of you who at your club or gaming group, basement battle reports, whatever, that go up against, I'm not talking about like that one lone Tyranid who's been playing Space Bugs forever, but newer Tyranid players, maybe I'm wrong, my meta is not your meta, but when's the last time you saw Raveners on the table? And I'm not talking about like some warrior proxy conversion where it can kind of go back and forth, and not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you want to take the warrior kit and kind of build a Space Bug that can be any one of those. I'm talking proper Raveners on there. So I started to stockpile Raveners, and I got about 38 of these guys ready to go. Guys, beings, it's whatever, ready to absolute rock and roll. And I have to say, right now, currently, they have a place. I don't know if I need that many, but I would postulate with whatever Space Bug army you are playing, taking one big group. They only have one purpose on there, but I have to say they do it really well. Just with the basic talons and fists, dropping them in, a big group, getting off the charge on there, just on volume of dice alone, they're going to obliterate most things. And what the advantage they also have is just on the volume of dice, based on the points. I mean, there's a lot of things in 40K. My Kornic Berserkers, all juiced up, can put out a lot of attacks, a lot of dice. But I'm paying premium points. Raveners, look at the other stuff in your army, stripped down. They're pretty affordable on there. So there's this idea of generating just base, nothing really, they're essentially dice buckets. Nothing really remarkable about the attacks they generate themselves, but the volume is so massive. This, what I've noticed in playing them, this plays into one of the inherent flaws, one of the stress points in 40K. So there's this idea in every gaming system, and this isn't unique to Warhammer 40,000. Every war game system has it, where it's trying to simulate something multi-dimensional into a set of rules. It has what I call stress points, these places where things kind of slow down a little bit, and not that you're breaking any rules or trying to bend the rules, but the rules don't quite work. And for the longest time, 40K being based on a D6 system fails, because we have multi now they're converted to wounds. But the idea is a lonely little gaunt or an Imperial Guardsman has a set of wounds, and then a Land Raider or some sort of monstrous vehicle or monstrous creature has a lot more wounds. And that's supposed to be something is multifunctional, really, really tough, really, really powerful. Right, but even with that and high toughness, if you throw enough dice at something on the wound matrix, you're going to blast through. So the challenge has always been, you can certainly throw down lots of dice, but that creates model resources. You want something super cheap that can throw down lots and lots and lots of attacks. Raveners are one of maybe about 6 or 7 things in 40K right now. Of course, Games Workshop will change it. It somehow slipped under the radar on there. So if you get lucky, not that we want to rely on luck, but the gods embrace luck. What this means, and this is coming from someone that plays an assault-themed army, when I have something super jacked up for the assault, I want to throw it at weaker units. Whatever my power level is, I want to throw it at weaker units. So this way I hit you, maybe you do a little bit of damage, I just annihilate you on there. I never want to go up against really high saves, really high wounds, really high power. Likewise, I don't want to get charged by really high power stuff, because this idea when 2 units smash in, then even if I win, I'm gonna get beat up pretty bad. And then I'm gonna eat a round of shooting and they're done, and it costs a ton of points. But if you just have a basic unit that can generate the volume of dice that Raveners do, that means if I throw them up against your super killy powerful assault unit on there, I will get lucky and really, really maul you with that. I will, just on the dice. It's like 40K dice gods, dice law. And when that happens, I'm going to lose the Raveners, but that's okay. I'll trade that. So your thoughts on it? I won't say I needed that many. Got a little bit out of control on there. I've got about 86 or 80 something, between 80 and 90 gargoyle meat bags ready to go on there. So one day I might be vindicated on that. But starting out Tyranids new, your thought on that, just taking one group. You could probably build some from some old warrior kits and snake them out and be ready to go on there. A very, very interesting, I would say a sleeper unit in the Tyranid army and in Tyranid builds right now. Your thoughts? Yes? No? And what other sleeper units should we be looking at?